How's it going, guys? The Beverly Hillbilly here. And today, we have ourselves a little bit of a comparison. Not a test, just comparing two fight sticks that are on two separate ends of the spectrum. At least for a brand, one brand. Over here, we have my first fighting stick, the Hori Fightstick Mini 4. Oh, this thing, my first fight stick. Now, I thought I was having some problems with this thing, as far as a mechanical or electronic failure. I've been unable to duplicate that issue, so as far as I know, this little bad boy is still working perfectly fine. And over here, my new fight stick, the Hori Real Arcade Pro 5 Hayabusa. Now, for a quick note, there is no real difference between the Hori RAP4 and the 5 I have here. The only real difference is the button layout. As you can see, the buttons and joysticks are a bit closer together than what you will find on the popular RAP4. That's the only difference. The internals are exactly the same. Most people do like that spread out layout. I have small hands, my fingers are kind of pudgy and sausagey, so this button layout works perfectly fine for me. That is why I picked this over the 4. And there was a $40 premium, I'm assuming because of this being the latest Real Arcade Pro version. But, you know, whatever. If I'm going to spend that kind of money, anything over 150 bucks, I want to like it a lot. And I wanted to go with something that I knew something about. I knew about the Hori brand. I like this thing. And that's why I went here. But this is more of a straight up comparison, talking about someone's thoughts and opinions and a little bit of an adventure into fighting games and buying these types of joysticks, because once you get something like this, you are becoming fairly dedicated to whatever fighting game you're playing, or maybe you like playing the entire genre. But being so new to the genre, I didn't know how far I wanted to dive into the rabbit hole. I'm pretty deep now, but that's okay. Let's go over these sticks and talk about how we go from here into here and the differences. Now this little bad boy. Like I said, I still love this thing, and I've tested it, and this thing still works. We're 2 months in now, and I was hard on this thing. I remember saying in my initial unboxing, I wanted to be easy on this fight stick. I'm not easy on fight sticks. I wish I was. I'm just hard on them. The only real wear issue that I have discovered is, as you can see here, there is a little bit of movement. That's a bit more movement than I discovered in my initial unboxing. Now, there was a little bit of play. I was expecting that because I saw other unboxings and saw similar slight play. I didn't notice anything that affected my gameplay. I still don't, but there is more free play here. So that is something to take note of if you are new to fighting games or you want to back up and buy this thing. It is good to know what you're getting yourself into, even if you buy something cheap to save money. These buttons. I didn't like these buttons in the initial review. I still hate them, and here's why. That flexes. Now, that doesn't look like a big deal, because ideally you want to come straight down on the button. But in the middle of a fight, you might do some of that. And I've discovered with these buttons, you do have to depress them most of the way for them to register. So in some cases, you may be hitting this in a frenzy because it's a close match, it may not register, and that can mean the difference between a win and a loss. Even in a casual lobby, that is a bit of a frustration. And that was a problem I've had more and more often. I may have been button mashing, just not being as precise, but that is something to take note of. But once again, the price tag. 40 bucks, free shipping from Amazon. That is an incredible deal to get into the whole fight stick scene, and to figure out if you even like this thing. As I said in my initial review, buying something like this is completely pointless right out of the gate for noobs, and realize, oh wait, fighting games aren't really my thing, or I'm not a stick person, oh snap, I blew a lot of money, oh, I gotta explain this to the wife. But that's okay, I didn't have that. I realized after a couple weeks, loved this thing, and loved fighting sticks in general. And then I started looking around and seeing what I wanted to, invest in, or what brand. I wasn't going to buy Mad Catz because Little history lesson for you kids out there. Back in the day of, 2000, when I was a wee hillbilly, Mad Catz made awful, awful products. All their products were awful. All their peripherals, all their controllers, garbage. I never had a controller last more than 6 months. Now, I understand that a company can make high-end and junk, but I had enough bad experiences where I'm not even going to consider them. This thing held up really well. Even though I thought I was having problems with it, I liked the brand enough, I liked the reviews of their lineup, and it ended up here. So let's go over this thing really quickly. I'm going to try and hold this up. The joystick. There is a tiny bit of play, and I have tried out other joysticks. I've tried out the Quanba, whatever it is, the Q4, the high-end fight stick, and it had a couple mods, including a Samoa JLF fight stick. Had the exact same amount of play. Now, as some may know, Hori has their own brand of joysticks that they've made, the Hayabusa. That is something that they are pushing really hard in their products, and I do personally prefer this. One thing I do like about this as compared to the Sanwa is it is that much more accurate. It does feel a bit more precise, and sometimes if you want to do a whole bunch of quarter circles or if you need to do a Z formation, this does feel a bit more accurate if you're trying to be slower and make that precise movement. The Samoa, it did feel like you have to be a bit more hard, jerky on it. But like I said, personal opinion, people love the Hayabusa, people love the Samoa. It's going to come down to personal preference. These buttons, again, these are not Samoa. These are Hori's signature brand of buttons, I believe Kuno, I believe. They're nice. Again, I've tried Samoa buttons. That loud plastic click that they have, and these don't. People love that. They like that thick plastic feel. I mean, I don't care. I'm hitting the buttons really hard. I'm not really paying attention. These buttons are very precise. You only have to push them down about a third of the way before they'll register, and you do feel when they hit the top of the micro switch. There. This move is now being registered, and you still have all that play of, well, free travel. And that means you're saving yourself about a frame or so you can get that move in that much faster. Something I do want to be very, very clear about, this, when you're moving up from this, will not fix your game. If you're sucking on this, you're still going to suck on this. But the little things do kind of add up here. This joystick does feel a lot more precise than this little thing. It's a little bit quieter too. Slightly. These buttons are just awful. If you're wanting to become competitive, even in the online world, these buttons hold you back. I wish they didn't, but they do. These buttons, I am more precise. I do drop combos slightly less often, but on the downside, I have one less excuse when I do drop it. One thing I do really like about this fits on your lap much easier than this. I was able to get this thing to fit on my lap, but there was a bit of holding yourself back. You do have to hold yourself a certain way to place it on your lap. But I'm kind of a small person, maybe bigger people don't have that problem. This thing takes over your lap. But it's nice because it's very sturdy on your lap. It's sturdy in general. And again, I'm finding myself bopping it, bashing it, kind of hard on it. I wish it wasn't, but I am. That's just how it is. One thing to note about Hori fighting sticks, especially when you get into the higher end, these things have a warranty. Modifying these fight sticks involves voiding that warranty. Taking off that voids the warranty. But taking that sticker off does expose the final screw, and you can crack this open. Unfortunately, it's slightly more difficult to crack these things open than the Mad Catz ones, but taking off the screws in the back all you gotta do, and everything is nice and accessible while avoiding the warranty. So if you want to feel like a badass, go right at it. But personally, I thought about modifying this thing. I've thought about putting a octagon restrictor gate in. I did not to. I like the square gate because I really enjoy knowing where down forward and down back are, or however size of the screen you're facing. I like these buttons too. They're light. They're a little light for my personal taste. I wish they were a little heavier, but they're very precise. I like how they feel, extremely responsive. I have no reason to replace them, so I'm not going to. Something I do want to say, and I've discovered that this is a sensitive opinion to have about fight sticks in general, but I'm going to say it anyway. On a basic level, on a standard, what these things are and what these things are advertised to do kind of level, this and this are the same thing. I'm sorry. Spending triple or quadruple the money to get a bigger fight stick doesn't make it more of a fight stick than this thing. It's better, but it's not 3 or 4 times better. It's just, this has much better equipment. You can mod it, and the idea is it will last longer than this, but it's not more of a fight stick than this. It's just better. I feel the butt hurts. I can feel the butt hurts coming through the interwebs. The rage, a negative comment. Anyway, whatever. Kind of ran through that. Like I said, I'm still fairly new to fighting games. I'm 4 months in. For quick reference, the game I use is, game I play is Skullgirls. That's all I play. That's like my life right now. Skullgirls. Like crunching 20, 25 hour weeks playing Skullgirls. I play on PC. And yes, I have a $2,000 Skullgirls machine. But whatever. But a quick note, both of these fight sticks worked seamlessly on my PC. This thing does not have a PC option. You have PS3, PS4, leave it on 4, and I had no problems with it communicating with my computer or Skullgirls in-game. Same thing here, but on the side, over here, there is an option to set it to PC. There is an initial 5-second quick setup when you first plug this thing into your computer for the first time, but again, it works seamlessly with the game. I had no problem with it. One issue I did have with this, I do want to point this out. I've heard other people had this issue, but I've heard no issue of it staying. The issue resolved itself. I'll explain. Some people will say these buttons need a little bit of time to break in. They might be a little stiff. The micro switch might stick for the first few days. That one did it. For the first 4 or 5 days, this would stick. Where doing that, it wouldn't register. You had to, and then it would come unstuck. I had to do that at least half a dozen times, but it stopped doing that. But I do want to make a note of that. Let people know if all of a sudden you crack this thing out of the box day 1, day 2, and one of these buttons don't work, don't be afraid to whack it. If this doesn't fix it, you have that warranty. Call up Hori, send it back. Do keep that in mind, and that is another reason to leave it alone. You want a mod, you're probably looking at the Mad Catz one anyway. That's enough babbling. Kind of rambled through that. I guess the point I wanted to make was, this is a great step up from this. But this won't fix this. This is fine. This is great. You have this and you like it, use it till it quits working. If you have this and want to step up, I highly recommend this. I love this thing a lot. I now understand, while having this and having the initial review just come out, people are like, that is a starter, that can be a solid first fighting stick, but when you get one of these, you'll understand why. It's through the little things, but I do agree with them. But I still think this is a legit fighting stick, and it should be everyone's first fighting sticks. It taught me that good buttons make a difference. Also taught me a good joystick will make the difference too. Also taught me that buying a big sturdy piece of equipment helps too. So all those things coming together taught me this is what I want, love it. You want a high-end fight stick? This thing. The 4 or 5. If you have big hands, get the 4. If you have smaller hands like me and they're kind of pudgy and sausagey, get the 5. Yeah, that's all. I'm done babbling. Well, I'm the Beverly Hillbilly. Have a good evening and good gaming.